This podcast is inspired by a complete stranger I met on YouTube who insisted on making me feel guilty and subhuman because, in his terms, I am in denial of the murders I'm complicit in and fund, the eating of meat. He made some valid points. One is complicit in murder when that pack of meat is purchased. In law, we have the concept that if you knowingly purchase the belongings of a murder victim, you're as equally to blame for the murder and equally accountable. The purchase lent incentive to criminality, and very probably motivated criminality. If we're to be fair, all other organic life can suffer ill treatment, feel pain, and even experience existential angst. If universal suffrage isn't just some platitude masking a snide, anthropocentric agenda, we should take every care possible to not be responsible for the travesties towards animals that occur on factory farms or anywhere else. But that isn't the subject here. I just had to make myself clear, making sure you understand. I'm not taking a blind and simplistic stance here. The subject is whether or not everyone who isn't a vegan is a stupid, knuckle-dragging murderer in denial. The subject whether someone should be able to make me feel guilty for my natural dietary inclinations. And here are my arguments. The first is animal populations. As it has stood for thousands of years, the ecosystems we've evolved out of included our diet as a vector. Certain populations are expected to be culled regularly by a predator and would overpopulate and cause havoc for other species if the culling doesn't occur. It's my belief that this shows us that eating the flesh of other beings is expected of us, and the best for us, physically and psychologically. A vegan or vegetarian would argue that we are an evolving species, to which I would agree, and that we are empowered with critical thought and can decide whether or not we should or want to do this or that. I'd agree there also. I'm being critical right this very moment, and it tells me that I'm not convinced either way yet. So I invite you to my mansion of understanding to explore this with me more. The second argument is our teeth. You'll have to forgive me for being slightly theistic in my philosophical approach to the uniqueness of the human form and mental state. We have a balanced and generous array of teeth. Where other species are equipped with variations of a single type of tooth, our mouths are perfect for consuming anything that any other animal our size and smaller can handle. We can even eat light bulbs. We're a divine being capable of just about anything that could be possible to happen in the universe under the right circumstances. All here, I assume, for very unique reasons, to bring their particular light into the world. It would then be fair for you to stick to beans and lentils, but to insist that everyone else share the same nourishment rituals is truly a blasphemy to the purpose of conscious existence. This is why I'm still yet undecided on this issue. I'm not going to make the mistake of confusing my personal neurological reality tunnel with actual reality again, because I've done it before. We all have. The meat of cow and the meat of lentil are vastly different in the formation of a human being. They add different things to the vehicle. You won't reveal this with reductionism, but it's there. But perhaps you're the type of vegetarian or vegan who is absolutely staunch in their approach to the mass abuse of animals for our greedy purposes, and you'd like to argue that we meat eaters are mentally ill or otherwise retarded and need some setting straight. To which I present argument number 3. Millions of wild animals die every year in the growing, producing, and transporting of all food. This is a natural fact. Yes, can you believe it? I think death just might be conspiring with life. When you pour that dust of yours into a bowl tomorrow morning and splash in a cup of soy milk to render it palatable, I'd like you to meditate upon images of gushing fountains of blood, snapping bones and cartilage, as the poor buggers get gobbled up by the harvester. And wonder how much of that made it into your mouth. Try eating a piece of chocolate after I tell you that a trace amount of insect is commonplace in any whole concoction. If you want to talk about blood on the hands of murderers, then how about we talk about how rare it is to find a consumer product or human structure that isn't steeped in the blood of others. If you're listening to me right now on anything other than a tape cassette, you've got blood on your hands, as tens of thousands of Africans had to die and thousands of children had to labour in mines so we could have our comfy, futuristic computer revolution. If you use soy products, please know that this plant saps every nutrient out of the ground it's grown in, and your money has contributed towards more of it being grown in the patches of land the investors in charge have no connection with and will soon abandon for a neighbouring field when no more can be pillaged. If you eat any kind of grain, a countless number of small animals should be hunting your ass right now. What about all the roads and the buildings and the industrial production in general? Kills, wipes out ecosystems. How come we don't see vegetarians and vegans talking about that side of humanity? Living is death. It's the gamble we make, the chance we take. And we all lose eventually. Any human being knows this, and knows that with being human comes a particular array of dangers and unique ways of dying. A vegan believes, and wants you to believe, that the only life form on Earth capable of understanding this profound truth is the human being, and they tell us that we look down on other life forms. What a magic trick, huh? An accurate reflection of a shielded existence, brought to you by Never Neverland, where no one ever gets hurt and we all die peacefully, surrounded by the ones we love. Until now, I've been reading a blurb that I've written about a week ago. And like I said, it's in response to a complete stranger I met on YouTube. And his audacity to think that he could tell another human being how to conduct their affairs. Now I can understand what he was saying. I could understand the points he was making. And I can understand that it's pretty much the same as an anti-war activist approaching your average Joe and asking him why he supports war. Because it is the same, really. We are putting animals to death for our nourishment. And we're doing a very bad job at it in the factory farms and in even some of the normal agricultural farms that are still left in the world. Very cruel and sadistic people live and work there. That's not how meat eating strictly is. There have been races upon the earth who've respected the animals that they killed and then ate. If you recall, a race that we know as the Native Americans. Apparently they respected the buffalo that they flung spears into and ate, and they used every part of the body, or so popular culture tells me. They used the bones, the cartilage, the skull, and the meat. I wouldn't see them using anything else, really. What would you want with intestines and brains? I digress. To be called a murderer, in this case, can be understood, but it can also be debated. I look forward to hearing from anyone who has anything to add to this, because in the end, this is just a discussion of the future. These are the things that we have to talk about as a human race and come to terms with, because the world isn't going to get any better unless we do. Farewell, people, farewell.